Something strange is happening in American politics, and people are starting to notice. Critics are now asking whether Donald Trump is becoming increasingly comfortable making bold claims that quickly fall apart under scrutiny, even on serious global issues. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. What happened next was especially revealing. During a public event, Trump received an extraordinary level of praise from senior officials, so much so that one moment left viewers asking, is this leadership or something else entirely?
Cash.
So, Cash, see if you can top that. I don't know. That's a tough one, Cash.
That is tough. You know, Mr. President, as I look around this venue, I see, and I'm reminded again, why we have the greatest warriors on God's green earth, the men and women serving in uniform, the men and women serving and wearing the badge, and law enforcement, our police, our sheriffs around the state of Tennessee. I'm reminded that Americans exist to protect this country day in and day out, and they've done it like we've done it here. But what we didn't have was you. We didn't have a commander-in-chief who backed the blue, who resourced the blue, who funded the military, who did whatever it takes to safeguard every single life. And here in Memphis, Tennessee, you have put on a show for the world. You have allowed us to go out there and capture gangbangers, rapists, murderers, drug dealers at record historic levels. And for me, a first-generation Indian-American kid whose parents fled a genocide in East Africa to become the 9th director of the FBI, I'm living the wildest dream you could possibly imagine, sir.
Oh boy.
Right. So after all that praise, the obvious question becomes, does the reality actually match the image being presented? Because what happened next gave viewers a chance to judge for themselves, and for many people watching, it raised even more questions about leadership, credibility, and what's really going on behind the headlines.
And there'll also be a form of a very serious form of a regime change. Now, in all fairness, everybody's been killed from the regime. They're really starting off. There's automatically a regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for. Look at Venezuela, how well that's working out. We are doing so well in Venezuela with oil and with the relationship between the president-elect and us. And maybe we find somebody like that in Iran.
So
Now here's where things get even more confusing. One day, bold claims about negotiations with Iran. The next, serious questions about whether those talks even happened at all. And when deadlines pass without results, people start asking the obvious question, what's really going on here? Because on an issue this serious, credibility matters.
agree.
You know what is respected all over the world. A year and a half ago, we were a laughingstock. We were a laughingstock. The king of Saudi Arabia told me a year and a half ago, he said, President, I can't believe what's happened to America. 1 year ago, you were a laughingstock. Nobody thought you could ever survive. Now you're the hottest country. Use that expression. He said, now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And we are now. Congratulations, because we're all partners in this deal. You're the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's really amazing. So I congratulate you. It's a great feeling.
So let's get this straight. One day we're hearing about major negotiations behind the scenes, and the next day, the entire story seems to change. At this point, even people paying close attention are probably wondering, wait, what exactly is the plan here?
What idea was that? To put ice in the airport?
We're dealing really...
Whose idea was it?
Mine. That was mine.
And can I ask you,
That was like the paperclip. You know the story of the paperclip? 182 years ago, a man discovered the paperclip. It was so simple. And everybody that looked at it say, why didn't I think of that?
And now comes the biggest question of all. What happens next? Because at this point, the situation feels more uncertain than ever. Conflicting stories, rising tensions, military movements, and growing doubts about who's really in control. It's a combination that has a lot of people genuinely worried. Best case scenario, diplomacy somehow wins out. Worst case, the consequences ripple far beyond the Middle East. Either way, the world is watching closely.